Don't worry about it. I saw the play.
Oh, here it comes. Look, no, it's not the play.
That's not the play.
That's whatever. It's coming up.
This is bad radio.
I know it's great radio. It's fantastic radio. Here it comes. No, this isn't it.
That's not it either. All right, let's move on.
Okay, well, but the guy was offsides.
All right, fine.
There it is. Look, he's 5 feet ahead of the guy.
You can make the point.
He was 5 feet ahead of the guy.
Your big head is in my way, so I can't see the screen.
He was 5 feet ahead of the guy.
So you said before.
I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, he got lucky.
Instead of torturing the listeners with.
I'm just saying. People saying, "Oh my God," Anyway, so the Red Bulls are basically at halftime in this two-leg series
and
against
they have a 2-goal lead.
DC United.
Yes, they have a 2-goal lead, and they're in good shape. And this is a team that finished 4th in the Eastern Conference, and people weren't sure until the last few weeks of the season if the Red Bulls were even going to make the playoffs.
Right.
And now they're 90 minutes away from getting to the semifinals.
That's good.
So it's turning into a decent playoff run for them. The question that continues to follow and hound the Red Bulls, is will this be the last season for Thierry Henry? Right. And by the skill and everything that he's shown, he had assist on both of the goals yesterday. There's no reason for him to retire except that he doesn't want to play anymore because he's still one of the 2 or 3 best players in Major League Soccer, and he's playing. He still plays at a very high level. He could certainly go back and play in Europe. I mean, he just played in Arsenal 2 years ago. He went back on a loan and played and scored for them in a reserve role. But I mean, there's no reason for him to retire except if he's just, you know what, I'm done. I don't feel like playing anymore, and then he goes from there. But I know he enjoys living in New York. That was the reason he came here in the first place. So I don't. If he's going to continue to live in New York, I don't know why he wouldn't just keep playing.
That's a good point. Unless he's looking for something else to do.
I can't imagine what else he'd be looking to do because there's nothing else that he could do that's going to pay him at least $4 million a year.
That's true. Wow, they make that much in pro soccer.
He does. He is what's referred to as a designated player, and those players, though they are allowed to eclipse the salary cap. Each team is allowed as many as 3, and Henry is one for the Red Bulls. Tim Cahill is the second one. They don't have a third at this point. The LA Galaxy was the only team, as far as I remember, that had 3, and that was when they had David Beckham, Robbie Keane, and Landon Donovan was also a designated player. Which he was as far as I remember, he was the only American who got that status, and he deserved it. I mean, the league wound up paying him about somewhere close to $1 million a year, or around $1 million a year. But Landon deserved it. He's the face of American soccer, so and that was their way of keeping him here, as opposed to him going to Europe. So it was a good move for MLS. It was money well spent because he's been an important guy to the growth of the league. So anyway,
what about your boys in Tottenham?
Well, let's
very quickly. Let's not spend 5 minutes on it.
All right. Well, I wanted to mention that yesterday was a Manchester Derby day. It was Manchester City played Manchester United, and City came away with the 1-0 win on a goal by Sergio Aguero. Pretty much expected. I think maybe it was expected that City might win by more, and especially after United had a player sent off for a second yellow card in the first half. But City didn't play its best game, but United is still rebuilding a little bit under new coach Louis van Gaal, and they'll be doing a lot of business come January when the transfer window opens again. But the real drama of the day, as far as I'm concerned, was my boys Tottenham, and the
Hotspurs,
the Hotspur.
The Hotspur, I'm sorry.
Not plural. They came back, and I actually called this because I had to go to work after right as the first half was ending.
He did. He called me up and said they're going to win.
I said I posted it on Facebook because Spurs were losing 1-0 at halftime, and I said we're going to score 2 in the second half, and we're going to pull this one out. And my Spurs fans who I communicate with on Facebook, most of them are from the UK. They told me I was mad. They told me I was daft. They told me I was I must have been drinking before I was going to work, which I don't do. And what happened? I'm getting to work and I check my phone and I get the updates and Harry Kane in the 90th minute. And Harry Kane, for those of you who don't know, learn the name because this guy is going to be a phenomenal player. 21 years old, scored on a free kick in just as they were going into stoppage time. Past American goalkeeper Brad Guzan, plays for Aston Villa. and the place went nuts. And well, the Spurs fans at the place, because they were playing at Aston Villa's field. But just a really thrilling comeback, and it was great to see something. It was great to see Harry Kane getting some minutes, because Spurs fans have been clamoring for him to see the field. He's been scoring in cup games. He scored for the English youth national team, the under-21 team, because he is 21. And he's just been they call it form over reputation. And Kane right now is the best forward that Tottenham has, but the manager, Maurice Pochettino, hasn't been willing to put him on the field. And now I can't imagine that he doesn't start him going forward, because he's earned the spot.
Right. Well,
so
we got to take a break right now. We'll be back with more sports in a couple of minutes. If you'd like to call in, 516-572-7440.
This is Glenn DeMilt. Join me every Tuesday and Saturday afternoon at 5 for 2 big hours of music and memories with the chairman of the board. It's Frank Sinatra on Sinatra Serenade. Each week we'll take you on a musical journey through the career of this entertainment icon. It's all about old Blue Eyes. So listen to Sinatra Serenade on WHPC 90.3, the radio voice of Nassau Community College.
Streaming online at ncc.edu/WHPC.
Hi, this is Michael Anthony. Join me every Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. for the best of traditional jazz and American popular standards. The vocalists, musicians, arrangers, and composers are always celebrated each week with artist profiles and special guests. It's a celebrated musical art form that is alive and well. So tune in every Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. for The Unforgettables on WHPC 90.3 FM, the voice of Nassau Community College, the station that gives you music, memories, and so much more.
Five 516-572-7440. I'd like to call in and comment on anything in the world of sports. You're listening to From the Pressbox. I'm Rob Leonard. He's Tim Leonard. We just talked soccer. Let's talk a little basketball.
Basketball, congratulations, first of all. Have to go out to Carmelo Anthony.
Wow, I was shocked that he scored this many points.
Yes, he scored his 20,000th
career
point. He actually was the 40th NBA player to reach 20,000 points, and he is the 6th youngest player to reach that number, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, he should reach 30,000 under his current Knicks contract, because he's got a 5-year deal. The season just started. He scores about 2,000 points a season, so it's certainly totally conceivable that he'll have 30,000 points in a Knicks uniform as well. So
the thing
we'll
about
see how
him
that
though
goes.
is that until he wins a championship, though, it's all individual stuff with him, and they'll say, "Oh well, he did good," but
yeah, and that's
did he lead
the
his
issue.
team? That's his question.
If he gets to 30,000 points, obviously that's rarefied air in the NBA. I mean 20,000 points is rare enough, but 30,000, everybody who scored 30,000 or more than 30,000 points has a championship. And right now, it's not looking real good for Carmelo on that line.
Ewing?
Patrick Ewing, I don't think has 30,000 points.
Well,
So.
I thought it was close. Anyway, the Knicks lost the opener at the Garden last week, but then they beat LeBron.
Yes,
I was shocked.
They were embarrassed really by the Chicago Bulls in their opener.
Horrible.
It was a bad game.
Oof.
But then the next night, nobody thought the Knicks were going to win that game in Cleveland, and LeBron was terrible for LeBron anyway. And the Knicks won that game going away. I mean, they had to hold on at the end, but I was very surprised and very impressed with the Knicks in that game, and especially more so because Jose Calderon, who was the guy who's supposed to be their starting point guard, hasn't played yet. He's got a calf injury. The point has been manned by Pablo Prigioni and Shane. What's his name?
Shane Larkin.
Yes, that's Barry Larkin's son. And I mean, neither one of these guys is really an NBA quality starter. But you know what? The Knicks are playing pretty well so far, and the triangle offense is still a work in progress. But again, it seems to be working. And I know Carmelo was talking about a rebound last night being his biggest play of the game. I mean, he only had 2 of them, so I'm sure he remembered both of them. But he did grab a rebound late in the game when the Knicks were hanging on to the lead. and it pretty much put the game away. So, big play, and
Right.
it's always good when he can look at stuff and make a play that doesn't involve scoring, because you like to see him making the right pass or crashing the boards and having an impact in other ways besides just scoring the basketball. And I don't want to take away from scoring, because obviously it's a key aspect of the game and it's what he does especially well. But you need to do other things.
Yes, you do. So it certainly does help. And it's interesting how, the Knicks are going to be given a looser chain, so to speak, by the crowd fans this year. Meaning that if the Knicks stay at 500, Knicks going to be fans a little more happy than.
Well, it's a Phil Jackson honeymoon period.
Yeah,
because they're look. I mean, let's face it. The Knicks, there's not a lot of promise for this season. They have a lot of contracts coming off the books after this year. It's going to be a lot of this is kind of a transitional year. I mean,
Right.
the Knicks sold this to Carmelo Anthony in his free agency. They said, "Look, we're not going to contend this year, but the year after that, the Knicks are expecting big things in free agency, and they've been planning for this. And the salary cap is supposed to go up in that
After 2 years.
in that big way.
Right.
Yeah, so." That's what.
So Carmelo's third year is when the Knicks can really pile on.
Well, I think the second
year they can get some guys.
Second
but then
year
the third year they
building
can even go better.
Yeah, and that's kind of how they planned it. And right now, things are going according to plan. So we'll see how it goes. But it's all a work in progress, and it all depends on who they can convince to come here and who's going to be available. I mean, one of the guys they thought they were going to be able to get down the road was Kevin Love, and obviously that's not going to happen because he's in Cleveland now and he's under a long-term deal, so he's not going anywhere. So it all depends on how dominoes fall.
And LeBron did sign a 2-year deal based on the fact that this contract was going to get expanded by the NBA.
Right, and that was for his own. He's not going anywhere though. He'll just re-sign with Cleveland, and they'll throw whatever money they have to throw at him to keep him happy. But the reason that he signed that deal was because everybody in the NBA pretty much knew that this monster television deal was going to be signed, and that the salary cap was going to go way up. I mean, it's going to go up something like $25 or $30 million. Yeah. So players knew. And to sign a contract any longer than that is stupid. But that's where we are.
I was thinking, what's the equivalent to other teams and other sports where a player like LeBron who left and then comes back, and the only one I can think of is Mark Messier, though he didn't do for the Rangers when he came back what he did when he was there.
Right. He came back, but he wasn't the same player, and he wasn't nearly as effective.
No, but the fans were very happy to have Mark Messier.
Well, because he won them their cup, so he's always going to be a guy who's loved at Madison Square Garden. But when he came back, he was clearly a shell of his former self.
He wasn't the guy who from '94.
No,
I was trying to think of any other players.
It's rare. It's rare that somebody goes back because usually if a player leaves, there's bad feelings to begin with. I mean, you could say like, what if somebody had come back? Like, what if Tom Seaver had come back to the Mets?
Well, he did actually.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about as an effective player.
Well,
when he came back,
'83 he was actually a decent pitcher that year. The Mets just didn't have the team yet.
Wow.
They were on their way. '84, if he had stayed around for '84, well,
right,
the Mets had kept him. It wasn't.
But he was an aging pitcher at that point.
Yeah.
He wasn't Tom Terrific anymore.
No,
he wasn't blowing guys away.
But
and
he was still
20 games.
He was still a good pitcher.
Yeah.
I thought so. I forgot about Tom Seaver.
Yeah, there you go.
I was there when he came back. Me, Bob Tuck.
I was there for his 300th win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was at Yankee Stadium.
Old Timers Day.
Oh, that's right, Yankee. I wasn't at Yankee.
They honored Phil Rizzuto. They gave him the cow. The cow knocked him over.
I forgot about
They called him Holy Cow.
Anyway, we got to get out of here. Another hour has been
How much time do we have?
We got like 20 seconds.
Oh, forget it. I was going to go through some football stuff. Never mind.
Nope.
Giants, Colts tonight in the Monday Night Classic. Expect a shootout.
I hope so. Anyway, you've been listening to From the Press Box on 90.3 FM WHPC. My name is Rob Leonard. Joining me is
Tim Leonard.
And we're here every Monday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., talking about the world of sports. I'll see you Friday with Beatles songs from 8 to 11, and thank you for listening.
Follow me on Twitter. What's your Twitter
Twitter
at
account?
Real Tim Leonard.
We forgot to ask Len his Twitter account.
He is, I forget what it was. I'll have to look it
We'll
up
put
and
it
find
up
it.
on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Take care, everyone. Take care, and bye-bye.
WHPC Garden City, New York, the voice of Nassau Community College.
Join WH.